Oh gosh. All right. Well, I guess we can go ahead and get started. I'm going to pull up my screen and let's see. All right. Let me know if you can see my full screen.
I sure can.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Great. Well, we can go ahead and get started. Today's workshop is called Write, Plan, Publish, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about. And this is a book marketing workshop for serious indie authors. So if that's you, you are in the right place. All right, so who am I? I am Angela J. Ford. I'm a digital marketer for indie authors, writers, and bloggers. And my focus is on helping you spend more time doing work you love. So if you don't love book marketing, I have that step-by-step guide to help you. And I provide expert guidance on websites, social media, and book launches. And my favorite thing, what I'm absolutely passionate about, is writing. I'm the author of the Amazon bestseller, The Five Warriors, which is an epic fantasy, and it is book one of the Full World series. And my co-host is the lovely Alexa, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alexa Bigwarfe, and I am kind of the other side to what Angela does. I'm a freelance writer, blogger, copywriter, and content strategist. Also love to do book coaching, have a micro press, micro publisher, focusing mostly on entrepreneurs right now, but I actually have 3 fiction clients right now that I am helping through the process of publishing their book. So I am a self-published author myself, or indie published. There is a distinguishment between the two of them. Sunshine After the Storm, A Survival Guide for the Grieving Mother was my first book, followed up by Lose the Cape, Reality for Busy Modern Moms and Strategies to Survive, which I co-wrote with a friend of mine. And then we did a second Lose the Cape, and I've done several other short Kindle books that are out there as well, working on my first fiction book. So I'm super excited about that. I have been working on it for 4 years. So maybe one of these days I'm actually going to finish it. Yeah, so that's me.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. You have so much, and that's incredible. Incredible.
Thanks.
Good. Well, we'll go ahead and dive in. First up, let's focus on research and how to actually find your ideal reader. And this is huge. So a couple things that I recommend. Number one is starting to think small. And the reason I recommend this is because there are over 7 billion people in the world. You can't reach all of them. And if you try, you're going to stretch yourself too thin. So I recommend on thinking small and focusing on the small groups of people that you can get to rave about your book, write book reviews, get excited about it. And then from there, they can take the baton and continue to spread the word about your book for you. So you don't have to do all of the book marketing yourself. And these are really the people that I call book ambassadors. And then the other thing that I recommend doing is zeroing in on the age group that you're writing for and the gender. So for example, if you write fiction books that empower female entrepreneurs, then that's really what you want to focus on. And if you're more focused on the millennials, those between the 20 and 30 age range, then that really is your target. And that will help you zero in and find where they actually are at, and then how you can reach out to them and get them to know more about you and your book and how it helps them. And then, of course, another thing that you'll want to consider is purchasing power. So I write books primarily for young adults, and they aren't necessarily the ones with the money in hand to actually go out and make that purchase. So I have to make sure that I'm reaching out not only to them, that I'm where they hang out, both online and offline, but also making it easy for the people that actually purchase the book to find it, discover it, and make that purchase. And then also think about whether the people that are purchasing the book will be given it as a gift. So if you write something that would be great around like graduation time, that is something to consider. Or if you write something that, will make a great gift for Christmas, that November timeframe that's coming up fairly soon, it's also a good time to start thinking about, okay, let me make sure that I position my book in a way that the people that are going to make these purchases for gifts will find it, pick it up, and make that purchase. And then, of course, what's very important with finding your readers is discovering where they hang out both online and offline. So there are a couple of different ways you can do this. One of the things I recommend is going into different Facebook groups and finding out who's there. Is this your ideal reader? Are they in Facebook groups? Are they hanging out on Instagram? Are they on Twitter? And when you go back to the age group that you're targeting and also the gender that you're targeting, this should help with that. So for example, I target the young adult markets, and a lot of them are on Instagram. So that's primarily where I search for new readers. And then also, because book marketing does need to take place in the real life, so shut your computer, go offline, take a look at what's on in your local community. What events are happening at your local bookstore, at your local library? Go to meetup.com and search for different writer groups and find out what they're doing and how you can collaborate and reach people there as well, and what opportunities that they can introduce you to. So once you do your research and you know like your ideal reader and where they're hanging out both online and online, another thing that I recommend looking at is your design and what your book cover design should look like. Because contrary to the past, people now judge books based on their cover. So if your cover isn't absolutely stunning, then people are going to just bypass it. So what can you do to attract those readers to your book cover? Well, number one, I recommend if you're starting from zero and you don't really know what you want for your book cover, I recommend going to your local bookstore and taking a look at the bestsellers in your genre. Take a look at those book covers and the elements that are on them. See how big the author name is or how small it is. Do they have graphics like pictures of real people on the front? Do they have a landscape? Is it just different bold colors? What do those book covers look like? And then write down what you like about it and then what you don't like about it. And there, from there, take those steps to envision your book cover and what you would want that to look like. So that will help when you're working with a professional designer. And what I recommend for when you're choosing a designer to work with, make sure you take a look at their portfolio and that you actually like, that you're excited about the work that they've already done. Because what they're going to do for you is going to be similar to that quality that they've already done for other authors. And then make sure that you do have your vision for your book cover. That will certainly help with turning it to something that's amazing. And then if you're working with a professional designer, they are professional. This is what they do in life. They know what sells, they know what works. So they're going to come along and partner with you and create something that takes it to the next level. And that's certainly something that I was able to experience working with a designer. I had a vision for it. And I do have to say, when the first proof of the cover came back, I just looked at it and I was like, well, I don't have any changes because it's so perfect. And we did end up making one change to the font, and that was about it. But it helped because I had been able to take those steps and go look at what was trending, what was popular, what I liked, what I didn't like, what I knew I absolutely did not want, and then actually trust the professional to make that happen for me. And it turned out better than I ever imagined. On the flip side, if doing it yourself if working with a professional designer is not in your budget, you can actually do it yourself. And there are different sites that you can use for that. I do highly recommend working with a professional if you possibly can. But if you do it yourself, I use canva.com actually to create a temporary book cover. And that's helpful if you are setting up your pre-order pages and you don't have your final book cover yet, but you definitely want to get something up there for people to see so they can start, go ahead and getting their orders in. But you can make a temporary cover, and I did that, and it took all of 5 minutes, like no big deal. Of course, there's nothing that's spectacular about it or really stands out about it. It's just the book title, my name on it, and then a graphic that is free and that anyone can download anywhere. But there are do-it-yourself options, so you can certainly look into that if you are more design led and want to do that. And then one of the other things that's great with working with a professional designer is that they can also help you with your book sales page. And we'll go into full detail over that, but they can help you with the graphics and the branding for your website and your book sales page and what that should look like, and any additional marketing collateral that you're going to use. So once you have your design, you can go ahead and set up your pre-order pages. And you can actually make both your paperback and your ebook available for pre-order. And so that way, while you're still working on the other prep pieces and your marketing plan, people can go ahead over to these pages and start making that purchase. So here are a few of the tools that I recommend for publishing. Number one is Amazon CreateSpace, and this is for paperbacks. It's a free service and it's print on demand, so you don't have to keep any of the inventory stocked at your house. When someone purchases it, they just print it and ship it out to the person, and you don't even worry about it. It's just my favorite part. It's also free, and they do have guides for formatting and prepping your book, and they do have guides as well for the design of a paperback cover, because that's a little bit different from ebook. And Alexa is going to go over that prep and the book formatting in a little bit, so we'll talk about that. All right, I also highly recommend using Kindle Direct Publishing to publish your ebooks. And one of the things that Kindle Direct Publishing allows you to do is put your book exclusively on Amazon. And I know your next question is, why would you ever want your book to be exclusively on Amazon, where there are all these other distributors that sell ebooks that you could get the word out if you just, spread yourself out and make sure that everyone else has a chance of finding your book? Well, one of the things that's really helped, especially when it comes to revenue, for myself personally, having a book exclusively on Amazon, is that it's part of the Kindle Unlimited program. So it's basically the Netflix for books. People can opt into it, and they have to pay $10, I believe, every single month, and they can read any book that's a part of the program for free. And so what actually happens is that you get paid for the pages that those people are reading. And it's not like you get paid like something huge, like $1 for every single page, but you do get paid for that, which is fantastic, because that's another way of, even if you aren't selling books, you can still make money off your book, which is an excellent revenue stream. All right, if that is not something that you want to do, you want to make sure that your book gets out to all these different vendors that distribute ebooks. You'll want to use something different, like Smashwords or Draft2Digital. I've actually used Draft2Digital, and that will make sure your book goes everywhere else. So if you want people to be able to go on iBooks, which is by Apple, and make that purchase and download the book and read it easily, you can do that as well. And then I also recommend having your book sales page on your website, and I'll go into that in more detail in a little bit. But that's also another way to show that you have your book at these different areas. So they can go to Amazon and purchase it. If they'd rather go to Books A Million or Barnes and Nobles or Apple Books to make that purchase, they can do so. So you can highlight all of those logos on your book sales page, and that gives you that authority. And then finally, another tool that I started using actually last year is called Pronoun. It's actually relatively new, and they also do book publishing, ebook publishing. But one of the cool things that I really like about them is that they allow you to track your book. So this is a free service. You can go to Pronoun and sign up to track your book, and they'll track it from Amazon, and they'll keep track of things like your sales rank. They'll keep track of when you get a new review, and they'll send you an email about it. Or they'll tell you, hey, your sales rank went up. You're now in the top 10% or the top 5% in your category. Oh, they'll also make recommendations for you as well for different categories that you might want to put your book in. So that's another fantastic way of continuing to get the word out, market your book, and make that happen. All right, next, do you actually need a book sales page, or can you just use your Amazon page to sell books? Well, I definitely think you need a book sales page, and here's why. So number one, you actually have more control over it because it's something that you create. If the rules change for something, for example, Facebook is a great resource for finding people. But Facebook pages are now, you really have to pay in order to get your post seen by a lot of people. So the same thing with the book sales page. Like you want to have that control over who sees it, who can get to it, and what information you have on it. And then your book sales page allows you to do two things. I mean, number one, you definitely want people to buy your book. But then the number two thing is, if someone doesn't buy your book immediately, you want them to opt into your email list so that you can sell them the book later. Take them through a cycle or a series of emails and eventually get them to buy the book. So that's one of two things. If someone just goes to your page on Amazon and looks at your book, decides not to purchase, and clicks away, then you have nothing. You don't have an email address. You don't have a way of following back up with them. So you definitely need a book sales page. So here's what I recommend including on it. Your book title, obviously, your book cover design, also some teaser text. Now, this doesn't have to be the full book description. It's just a little hook to get your readers interested in the book. Then include links to purchase, reviews, and endorsements. There's a distinction between reviews and endorsements. So reviews are from people who have actually read the book and they can write a review based on what they read in the book. The endorsement doesn't have to be based on the book. It can be more based on you and your writing style and knowing that, hey, you're a great writer, so this book will probably be fantastic. So you'll definitely want to include those. If you can't get full-on reviews before your book is available, make sure you get a few endorsements that you can put on that page just to give yourself that social proof and that authority. Also recommend including your book description and then a sample chapter or just an excerpt. Ask people to opt in to get that excerpt. That's another way to get on your email list, or provide a cliffhanger on your excerpt and then they can read the rest by opting into your email list. Just think of different creative ways to get people to get on the list if they're not going to make that purchase immediately. And then, of course, include your social media follow links so people can stalk you online, and your social media sharing links so that people can just share your book sales page like crazy. All right, so next up is your prep. And I'm going to let Alexa take over and talk to you a little bit more about what you need to do for book formatting and prepping your book for selling.
Thank you, Angela. If you don't mind going on to the next page. Well, we have a little bit of an echo. Hopefully that's going to go away. Okay, it's gone. All right. So with book formatting, obviously there's going to be a big difference between whether or not you're just doing an ebook or if you're doing an ebook and a print book or just a print book. Again, with the cover, like the cover design, there are lots of places and ways that you can do it by yourself. Or you can hire someone to do it for you. With the first book, and especially if you're doing a print book, I highly recommend that you at least consult with an expert. If not, go ahead and buy their services for this the first time around on a print book, especially because there are a lot of industry standards that you may not be familiar with, that you may not know how to do or what they even look like. You can go to Create Space and you can download a template easily. Any of us can do it. They're free. But the problem with the template that I have found is that if you make a change and you mess up the template, it's really hard to, one, even know if you've messed it up, and two, try and get it back to what it was and to know what all of those things are. You know, are your gutters correct? Are your headings correct? Is your copyright page set up correctly? Are you putting things in the right order in terms of where your acknowledgments and forward and all these? I mean, there's tons of things to know. Best fonts, how to space them, what the size is, how far from the edge of the pages it should be, how far from the top of the pages it should be, where the number should go. I mean, there's a ton of information to learn. And I can tell you this because I did it all by myself the first time and I made a ton of mistakes. And I wound up having to go back and make a ton of changes after I learned what was the correct way to do it. So, you know, time is money when it comes to those kinds of things. And after you've learned and kind of spent a little bit of time around it, then if you're doing other books or you've got a template that you understand and know how to manipulate, then you can try and do it yourself. And then ebook is a completely different beast entirely. They can be extremely simple if all it is text. They can be extremely complicated if there are graphs, charts, images, and other things in them. It can take as long as 5 minutes to prepare an ebook to hours and days, depending on the level of complication and your level of experience in doing that. If you are writing just like a standard fiction book, which is pretty much just text with maybe a pretty chapter heading or something like that, Amazon does have a template that you can download, or not even a template, but just guidelines that tell you exactly how to do it. You can prepare it in a Word doc, just follow the directions exactly and upload it. And when you see it on the Kindle, it's going to look nice. It will not, in most cases, will not look exactly like the layout of your print book. So if you're doing both and you have a font that you really love, um, there's a little bit more work that goes into doing an ebook conversion that actually includes those same fonts and all of that kind of stuff. So those are just things to consider. Your timeline on that could be anywhere from a week or 2 weeks to a couple months, depending on the how complicated your project is, whether you're doing it by yourself, whether you're working with someone, and all those different things. So I don't know if Angela is going to go into timeline at all, but I get asked a lot about questions on how much time should you allow for from the time you finish writing your book till the time it's published. And you definitely want to have enough time to work with a good editor who could take anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months, depending on how many times it has to go back and forth and how long the book is and all those things. And only once you are done with all the edits can you begin the formatting process. So you, again, want to have a minimum of a week just to make sure there's no glitches, and probably plan on a couple weeks longer than that. So next slide, please. Okay, PR and marketing. Again, on the timeline on that, you are going to want to start marketing your book like the second you start writing it. That might be a little bit dramatic to say, but there's a lot of work that goes into publishing a book. And if you wait until it is done and ready to be uploaded onto Amazon or to whatever source that you're using to distribute your book, you are behind the power curve. And this is what happens with a lot of authors these days. They upload it, they think, whoa, Amazon's got it, I'm going to sell 1,000,000 copies, and crickets. So it's really important that you begin the PR and marketing process as early on in the process as you can. When I work with authors, I encourage them to have some kind of a cover design mock-up done as quickly as possible. It doesn't have to be the full print cover. It can just be something like what Angela did, where she made a quick cover just to have something so that she could start marketing that book, because you're going to want to start putting out your Facebook pages. You're going to want to start looking for advanced readers. You're going to want to start creating a buzz around this product. And that way, when you do reach your launch day, you already have people that have either purchased it in advance through the pre-orders, so that on day one when it goes live you've got all these fun orders, or doing advanced reviews for you or things of that nature, so that launch day is truly super exciting. And if you'll click to the next screen, I can talk about some of the tools that you use to do these kinds of things. So as technology changes and as our space changes, these also fluctuate a little bit. But I'll tell you the one thing that everybody needs and stays consistent, no matter how many times people say email is dead, the email list is your best friend anywhere, because the people who opt into your list and stay on your list are your peeps. So if there's any way, and Angela threw out a couple of great suggestions on getting people to your list, cliffhangers or a free chapter, or even if you have another book that you're willing to give as a freebie to your readers, anything like that to encourage them to join your email list. But don't just leave them hanging on your email list, continue to communicate with them, continue to send them useful information, so that when you are preparing for your book launch, they're not like, who is this person and why are they sending me something? Unsubscribe. They know who you are, and they come back, and they're your people. Start building that email list right now. And one of the tactics I'm working on with my one of my authors is on his Facebook page, instead of doing his boosted post so that it's a like on their page, we are asking them to click over to his landing page, where they will be asked to opt into his list for whatever it is we're giving them at the time. um, Book tours and blog tours are a great way. These, 2 years ago, a blog tour was like, it was fantastic. There were tons of people who wanted to get a free advanced copy, and they would read it and write about it on their blog, and you'd have all these ways to reach people that you would have audiences that you would have never had a hold of before. You can still do an effective blogging tour, but it takes a little bit more work than it used to. And a lot of bloggers want to be paid for posting reviews, which, don't even get me started on that. I understand as a blogger why. Anyway, we can have a whole long discussion about that over drinks one day if you'd like to. But just expect, if you try and organize a blog tour, you may get people asking for payment. Now, if they have a reach of 1 million people, I think that's kind of worth paying for. If they have 25 people on their Facebook page, I'm not paying them to do a book tour. We'll find, or a blog tour. We'll find someone else. But you can use your judgment on that. You can also hire help, like a PR and marketing person, to help you do something like this. You can hire a publicist. Depends on what your goal is, and everything I say is depending on the goal of your book and what you want to get out of it. Book tours, either in libraries, they'll sometimes host local book authors for book signings. You can see if you're and this is of course after publishing, but you can go to your Barnes and Noble or your local bookstores and see if they'll let you do a book signing. A friend of mine who published a YA book a couple years ago had a book signing in a bar, and that was actually quite a lot of fun. We took copies of her book and went to the bar and had some drinks and talked to people and sold copies of her book. So, you can think outside the box to do stuff like that. Blogging, as opposed to a blog tour, if is a great way to reach different audiences as well. So you want to try and find either the big review sites, or people who talk about whatever the genre is of your book, or someone who, if it's a work, not a workbook, a entrepreneurial book, finding websites in your niche that are really popular, and seeing if you can guest post on their blog. It's a great way to find a new audience. And then just make sure that whatever you put in your author bio includes a link to either your sales page or your opt-in or something, so that you capitalize from that. All of these are PR things. I'm not sure why I put PR as a separate bullet, but I guess I was just going for the whole public relations thing. You really want to be figuring out how you can do creative PR, I suppose. Social media blasts. If you've ever seen anything like a Thunderclap campaign, or even to a certain extent, Kickstarters or GoFundMe's or anything like those are all big social media. Thunderclap in particular, because you get people to sign up basically to help you share the word. And on the date and time that you choose, it's going to blast out to every person's social media a consistent message. So this can be great, especially if you're taking advantage of hashtags, because you can, say your book is about zombies, hashtag zombie apocalypse or something like that in your book blast. And at 10 o'clock on February 2nd, when you want the whole world to know it's your launch day, and you send out something that has that hashtag in it, it's going to be seen by a whole bunch of people, and a whole bunch of audiences that are not your own. So that's something you can start working on a long time in advance from your book. Just sending it out and saying, hey, friends and family, I'm doing a book launch on February 2nd. Will you please sign up to let me shoot it out to your Twitter followers or your Facebook fans or whatnot? Free and easy. So webinars like we're doing right here, if there's somebody that you can collaborate with, or do your own webinar if you want to. There's lots of ways to do free webinars or to get out there and coordinate and collaborate with someone else who may help you reach a different element of your niche. It's always a great way to just get words out there. And podcasts are similar to blogging. Podcasts are growing in popularity, and there are a lot of them that do focus on authors, on writing, and on books in general. So you can research and see who's doing those and be featured in just a quick and easy interview so that you can share your book and what you're doing with a whole bunch of people that you wouldn't necessarily reach. So, I mean, there's tons and tons of ways to market yourself, but I think the most important thing that I can say beyond building your list is to make sure that you start pretty much as soon as the seed of your book forms in your brain. You should be thinking, what am I going to do to market this book, and when am I going to start? And if you don't have time to do it, well, there are plenty of people like Angela and myself who can either assist you or let you know where to find someone who can assist you with your needs. And I think that's about all I had to say on that slide.
Ah, that was amazing. Amazing. And I love all of the marketing tips, and the thunderclap. That's definitely something that I did, and it was incredible. Like, so glad I did that.
Yeah, it's so much fun to see your message get like blasted out by 15,000 Twitter
Yes.
people, or however many wind up in there. I mean,
Yes.
it's so cool at the same time on the same day. And it's just like, bam, all of a sudden, if you do it right, you are, oh gosh, I just had a total brain. What's it called when you're,
Trending.
Yes, you're trending. Yes. That's the word I was looking for. Yes.
Oh gosh. Yes. And we want to help you be trending. So
That's right.
Yeah. So next steps, if you feel like you need more details on book marketing and you need step-by-step guides and you really want to get help writing your book and making it happen and launching with a splash and making it a smashing success, we do have a very special offer exclusively for you. So I have a book launch course. And in this course, I'll be going over all these different things. So you'll learn how to get book ambassadors to promote your book for you so that you don't have to do all the work all by yourself. You'll also get a timeline for book marketing and what to expect at each step. So when should you be working on your formatting? At what point do you put up your book sales page? When do you need to release the pre-orders? Are you doing a thunderclap campaign? When does that need to happen? All of that. So that'll be included in the timeline. You'll get a walkthrough tutorial that you'll be able to see on how to make both your paperback and ebook available for pre-order. And then you'll learn why you should start building an email list right now, pretty much like yesterday, and what you should start sending those people that opt in. And then you'll learn how to create a book sales page, especially if you're technologically challenged and you don't want to deal with the hassle. And more. You'll learn the best way to use social media that doesn't involve just like posting every single day. You'll learn what kind of return on investment you can expect from ad campaigns and if there is a return on investment. You'll also learn about the power of giveaways and virtual parties to spread the word about your book. And then we'll talk about pre-order bonuses for both fiction and non-fiction books. And we'll talk about pre-order bonuses that won't break the bank, especially if you are on a budget. And then, of course, my number one favorite, we'll talk about the fastest way to get your book into the hands of hundreds of readers. So that is all about book launching. And then Alexa is going to go over her very amazing course that's coming up.
Thank you. We are including this within the bundle. So if you sign up for Angela's course, you will get access to this one as well. And it's basically write your book in 30 days. I will say this is geared more towards nonfiction and entrepreneurs who are looking to supplement their business with a book. Because although things like NaNoWriMo and things like that are geared towards helping fiction writers write their book in 30 days, it's really a lot harder to do than it sounds. Mm-hmm. Whereas you can actually take your knowledge and if you are an expert in your field, you can, I'm not going to say easily, but with, I think, somewhat easily write a book in 30 days. So the things that we cover in it are the essentials for writing a powerful book, how you structure and price it, a little bit more about creating a cover, how to upload it, how you know where to which category to put it in, what keywords to use, all those types of things. And then there's some sections on, since again it's focused towards the nonfiction, some tips on how to write a good how-to book, how to write a tips, an interview style, and an all about whatever book. So that's what you'll find in that little self-paced course.
So normally the price for these courses, like individually, would be $297, but we know you're on a budget, and so we want to give it to you today for only $200. So you'll save $97, and then you'll also get 3 fast action bonuses. You'll get the hashtag list, my top 30 hashtags that I recommend for increasing your book visibility, both on Twitter and Instagram, and then you'll also get the best Facebook groups that you should be in to network with others, find your book ambassadors and book reviewers. And then you'll get my 12 Twitter marketing hacks as well. So you can learn how to use that platform and learn how to connect with readers and authors. And so your final steps are to take action. So go ahead, write your book, plan it out, and then go ahead and publish it. And I want to open it up right now for questions.
We had some questions that were popping up during, and Caitlin asked if the slideshow will be available afterwards, and I said I thought we could make it available. Is that possible?
Absolutely. We'll send that out for sure.
Okay, great. Any other questions on anything that we covered? I feel like we should have like the Jeopardy tune playing along behind us.
That'd be amazing. Okay. Great. Yeah. So you can take advantage of the offer by clicking over on offers, and you can go ahead and like look at the details, look at the reviews, make your decision. We'll send out the link again in the replay email in case you want to watch this again. We'll send out the slides as well.
Okay. I have a question for you about pronoun. Do you actually load your book there, or do you just get them? They just look at analytics and provide?
You can, because they are a full publishing platform. I just haven't used it for the publishing part of it. And I'm a little hesitant too, because they're pretty new. So I actually just use it for the analytics part. That's it, which is fantastic. It's awesome. I love the emails. It's like, I got one yesterday. It's like, you got a new review.
That's like, fun.
Okay.
Yeah, because who has time to go onto their Amazon page every single day and check to see if someone has reviewed it?
Absolutely.
We didn't talk much about reviews, but I would like to say, while we're just sitting here waiting to see if anyone comes up with a question, that reviews are so important. And that's another way that you can help you get Amazon to market your book, because if there are more reviews out there, then they're going to start showing your book to more people.
Yes. And I don't know whether, maybe you know this, it's either 20 or 25 reviews that they want you to get to at the bare minimum before they kind of get started.
I had heard 50.
50? Okay. So there you go.
20 would be better. 20 would be better for most people, but I'm pretty sure it's 50. Lori wants to know how many books we've published and how the journey has evolved from one to the other. So I've published for almost 5 of my own, and then 3 for other people. And I would say I've gotten a lot faster at doing it. The first one, I made a lot of mistakes and took me quite a bit of time to figure out all the different, because the first one I did completely on my own. I hired somebody from Elance to do my cover, but it turns out that was a bad idea because she didn't really understand, even though she could do the elements of putting together a print cover, she was not an expert at it. So once I got the published book, I mean, things like the front wrapped around onto the gosh, I'm having a hard time with my words today. What's it called? The spine.
Fine. Yes.
And yes, thanks, Lori, spine. And it wasn't placed well, and the fonts were funky and all kinds of stuff. So I think in general, my evolution has come with a severe growth in knowledge, and understanding of standards and how to do things. Plus, I can do them faster. Plus, I know who to go to find good stuff, and learning a lot and a lot. You, Angela?
Yeah. So I actually published one like short little novella back in 2009, and I actually paid a company to do it for me. Yeah, not the best idea at all. So my second one, The Five Warriors, I published in 2015, and I actually took a 100-day writing course. That helped a lot because I had accountability, and I had people there to like help me out and assist with everything and help me with my timing and the timelines. And then all the hard questions like, okay, like I'm publishing on CreateSpace. I've never done this. Like who I'm going to find to format the book for myself, just all of that. And like, I know my big thing is like, I do not format my books. Like, no.
Holla to the formatters.
Exactly. I know that's not something that
3 cups of coffee this morning.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That I want to learn. It's not something that I need to be spending my time doing because I love writing and I love marketing. And I'll sit around all day like coming up with different marketing plans to go like, oh, what if I got like candles for my book? Like that would be amazing. Like that would be an awesome pre-order bonus. I'm going to put my time and energy into that. But yeah,
not someone else do the and it's funny because if somebody the first, well, I did one book project that I'm not allowed to claim as mine because I did it as a subcontractor for someone else. So that one was fairly simple, but I learned a lot about placement of images. But the first real one that I did from A to Z, publishing by myself for someone else, had a whole bunch of funky like graphs and charts and things. And oh my gosh, I'm not even kidding y'all when I say I probably spent 100 hours trying to format that thing properly. So it was insane, but I know a whole lot more about formatting now. So it was good.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Well, this has been so much fun. Oh, we got another question. Okay. Yeah. So Lori asked, would you recommend that a newbie avoid those kinds of graphics or get expert help? I would say get expert help.
Don't avoid the graphics. If you've got a book that needs graphics, put them in there because those are useful and important. But yeah, don't try to do it by yourself unless you're just a glutton for punishment and have a lot of time. Then by all means, go for it.
Time is money.
Time is money.
But yeah, I have a couple of graphics that like I like to have maps in my books, but they're fiction. I feel like with nonfiction, especially, it helps to get your point across if you do have those graphics in there. So, I mean, definitely keep the graphics. It's part of your writing. It makes your book what it is.
Exactly.
Any other questions?
Thank you for everyone for coming and hanging out and participating.
Yeah, this has been so much fun, and we'll send out an email. And great. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.